Upapada.
Upapada.
Next. As you know, Upapada is based on the Aruda of the 12th house. You'll notice a distinct sequence in Jaimini. We discussed Aruda Lagna, Aruda of 7th, and now Upapada. In that order, we also look at them in the tradition. We consider these the most important. The Aruda of the 7th house is like the Aruda Lagna. The Aruda of the 7th house is like the Aruda Lagna. Because Aruda Lagna is your personal world, and the Aruda of the 7th house is you interacting with that world. So both Aruda Lagna and Aruda of the 7th house is showing basically in two ways how you're interacting with your world and the whole world. Upapada then is next in line. Repeat after me. Upapadam.
Upapadam.
Padam.
Padam.
Pitrya.
Pitrya.
Anucharat.
Anucharat.
Pitra Anucharat is appropriate. Is it again? It doesn't. Let's see. There you go.
It's fine.
Translation. The Aruda of the 12th house is the Upapada. The Upapada is also called the Gaunapada. Take the 12th house from the Lagna, reckon zodiacally. Determine the Aruda Pada of the sign. This is the Upapada. Aruda of the 12th house. It is relevant to note that there are some scholars who hold different views on the reckoning of the sign. In the 12th saying that one should count in reverse for Samapada signs. That is, if the Lagna is Samapada, second house is where you will find the Aruda of the 12th house from. It's an odd term, an odd principle. Some reverse this even for even signs, like if even sign is the Lagna, they'll take the Aruda of the second house as Upapada. There are some commenters who have made this commentary, saying this could be the case. But I should be quite clear and say, this is incorrect. It is incorrect. Because nowhere have we been told, either by Parashara or by Jaimini, that we should reverse this.
So why do they do it?
Some people say it's because of the word anucharat. Anucharat means to follow. So following. Now, is it the person who's following you or the person you follow? The person who follows you is in the 12th house. The person you follow is the second house. Because after the first house comes second house, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they say, oh, it's because of this, we have two options. But truly, when we talk of Pitris in general, Rishis and Pitris, who are the Pitris? The Rishis. Where do we see Rishis from?
12th house.
12th house. So this Pitri is a key in the name of Pitri, of this word Pitra Anucharat, referring to the Rishis. We don't see Pitris from second house. We just don't. We see it from the 12th house. So I had a long discussion with somebody about this. I derived each part of this sutra. If you want to prove Jaimini's view, you have to take this sutra. The other sutras will not help you. Pitri, referring to Pitris, referring to Rishis, you see that in 12th house. Anucharat means somebody who is following you. Is it you who are following them? You could therefore say it's second house, but really in this connection, Pitri Anucharat refers to those who are following you and are linked to the Pitris. Okay. Is there any other way we can derive this? What does Pitri mean? Pitra. Pitra.
These are ancestors.
Pa is
Home.
1. Okay. Ta is
7, 6.
6. 61. Correct? 61 means Lagna. 1 Lagna. So the one following Lagna. What if I say that Ra is stronger than Ta? Then Pa is 1, Ra is 2. 21. Remove multiples of 12, we get 9. No real link. No real link. How does 9 has to do with this?
No. You were saying pi is 1.
Yes?
Oh yes, 21. Okay, reversed.
I know.
What is that?
Later I'll show you Pitri and we'll do magic with that. Magic with that word. Just magic. So, Upapada is the pada which follows Anucharat, the Lagna. So who's following the Lagna? One who's behind the Lagna has to follow the Lagna. Okay? Not following, but following you. You're not, it's not the one following the Lagna, in other words. You can see how this can be confusing. Right? But Pitri is certainly related to Rishis. Now we're getting straight into interpretation of the Upapada. Tatra,
Tatra,
Papasya,
Papasya,
Papa Yoge,
Papa Yoge,
Pravraja,
Pravraja,
Dharanashova.
Dharanashova.
It is saying Tatra. Now, Tatra can mean two things. It can mean whatever we were talking about in the previous sutra, which is Upapada. Or Tatra can mean what? We had it also before. Second house. So there's a dual meaning to this Tatra. And we will see this many times in the Jaimini Sutra. Either continue last sutra or second house from it. In this case, both are right. Context is important. Papasya Papa Yoge. That means if malefics are there, or there's a malefic yoga there. What is malefic yoga? Affliction by any way. Now in this context, it's important to note that Papasya means malefics there, Papa Yoga means Papakartari. Okay? Like Ashubha Yoga is Papa Yoga. Though Jaimini later on will give much more detailed combinations for this. Like he will use the word Papa Madhye. Papa Madhye means in the middle of Papas. It means specifically Papakartari. So we have to look for other Papa Yogas. All the Papa Yogas. When these Papa Yogas are there, either there's Pravraja Yoga. What is Pravraja Yoga?
Not getting
That's
married.
four brahmanas or more in one time.
What? What did you say? I
Not
got that.
getting married.
It means not getting married. That's what it means. Okay? Pravraja Yoga means you are not getting married. Pravraja Yoga means that relationship did not happen. That's what it means. Dharanasho. Dharanasho means destruction to spouse. The or means if malefics are associated, either you will not get married or the spouse suffers. When do we see which? If this is Upapada, then marriage does not happen. If it is second from Upapada, spouse suffers. Jaimini, you're smart. It's either the two. Either that you will not marry if the Upapada itself is afflicted, or the spouse suffers if the second from Upapada is afflicted. The Upapada, or Aruna from the 12th house, is different from Dharapada. It deals with the institution of marriage and children. The Upapada deals with that. So that a person is in a relationship. That they want to show society, I am in a relationship. I am married. Okay? Then it's Upapada. We are in a committed relationship. That is Upapada. We are registered as living together. And we are partners. Upapada. Instead, the Dharapada deals with the sexual appetite and the business or finances in the chart. This differentiation is of vital importance in making predictions, as it is possible that young people may come together and still remain unmarried. There are also many people who have affairs outside marriage, which means they are having Dharapadas with their Upapadas. Okay. During marriage Upapada, they are having some Dharapada on the side, which is not with their spouse. That's why we have to differentiate. In the modern context, the Dharapada should also be examined before predicting renunciation or priesthood. Pravraja Yoga, as there are many bachelors, many who remain bachelors and are still in the social stream. There should be a parenthesis ending here, right? Now, see, the Dharapada is telling you whether you are interacting with society also for the purpose of having intimate relationships. Therefore, Pravraja Yoga is not enough from the perspective of simply saying, oh, Upapada didn't work, you didn't marry, so therefore you will become priest. No. You may still remain a bachelor, and as is the case for many, they go from one relationship to the other. So that is Dharapada instead. To differentiate, Jupiter is the Karaka for Upapada, as Venus is the Karaka for Dharapada. Alright. You may have heard this before.
Mm-hmm.
Alright. So let's get started. Natra,
Natra,
Ravi, Papa.
Ravi, Papa.
The sun is not a malefic for matters concerning the Upapada. So it doesn't afflict Upapada is what it means. But if the sun is afflicted, it can cause problems. Okay. Very standard. Very standard. Which problems? Usually bone problems or stomach problems.
Can I ask you a question now related to this Guru is Karaka for Upapada and Shukra is Karaka for Dharapada? Usually when we find that Shukra is very afflicted in charts, we give remedies for that Shukra, and usually people do have problems related to partnerships. Many times they cannot even get married. So why are we not looking at these indications from Jupiter? For example, I've never heard someone implying that afflicted Jupiter would result in cancelling marriage. I never heard.
It can actually in ladies' charts. But, see, the reason we do it is because Venus gets exalted in Pisces.
Mm-hmm.
So Venus is going from the 7th house of Libra, it's Murtrikona, where it does all its work of matching people together and getting them married, you know? Getting them into relationships. So when Venus matures to its exaltation in Pisces, does it become spouse? So therefore Jupiter is the real spouse, the one who is making the Upapada created. But Venus has to mature to become like that. Okay, that's why. Venus, if afflicted, keeps you stuck in relationships without giving you a spouse, marriage.
Okay, so.
Okay? That's the difference. So Venus is like the stepping stone. You cannot but have to meet somebody if you have to get married. I mean, even in a case of arranged marriages where they barely got to meet each other for a second or an hour, they still have to meet each other. That meeting is indicated by the 7th house in Venus. That initial meeting. Okay?
Why is Pada of 12th house signify legal relationship, beneficial, dharmic?
P3s.
What about
one.
Pitris? I'm marrying my wife
Continuing
not because of
lineage.
Pitris.
Continuing
Not
lineage of
continuing
your...
lineage. I
Yes.
just want to share my life with somebody.
That,
It's not referred to Pitris.
Yes, we shall get to that. We shall get
Is
to
it-
that.
There is an explanation why. What is the difference?
Upapada. Upa refers to the one who is next in importance. You are most important. Who is the one who is next in importance to you? That is Upapada.
For me,
Who
child.
is the one?
For me, a child. My child. Not a father.
Before you had a child, there was somebody.
Who gave you that child?
Before you had a
Who
child,
helped
there
you
was
to
somebody.
have it?
And that child came from that Upapada. That's why we'll see the children from 9th from Upapada.
It might not come from Pada at all.
Oh, we'll discuss that.
And
If
still
Now,
be allowed.
that is up for discussion, I will tell you. Because there's some things about rishis and pitris and all. Yes?
Then after having a child, Papada lost the priority.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe. That is the case for many people, yes. But Upapada means the one who is next in importance. So when we say, I marry my wife not for the sake of, let's say, children or this, because I get married because I love my wife, then it means that person is second in importance. The whole world is only third in importance compared to that person, isn't it? So Upapada refers to that person. Why and how and all that, we're getting to, hopefully today. Preparing a nice presentation just on that. Shubha,
Shubha.
Drig Yogatra.
Drig Yogatra.
If the second from Upapada Oh. This could be also Upapada itself, right? We're still riding on that line which says Tatra. Means either Upapada or second from Upapada. So, if either the Upapada or second from Upapada has beneficial conjunctions or aspect, Pravraja Yoga or the Dharanasha, loss of spouse, does not occur. It say may not occur. If it's really benefic, it does not occur. If it really is benefic, it does not occur. I have a question. What if Venus is joined Upapada and Mercury is joined Upapada and they are both in third or sixth from Arudha like that? Then what happens? And they're strong, let's say they're exalted.
Then you will incur loss.
Renunciation.
Then you renounce
will
your
not
Upapada.
renounce. Yes.
So, this is why we say may not occur. What if you don't like the Shubha Grahas? Say no more Rajas, then Upapada itself goes with it. Okay? Think about that. Yes?
In this connection, right? Do we consider Ketu as being a malefic that will deny or will still support in case of marriage?
Ketu wants to give children.
But you
But
can
it
have
does
children.
not mean that Ketu will not cause a few hurdles first.
But you can have children even without being married.
That's a big question, whether we can consider that Upapada or not. Let's say you conceive a child, let's say in a relationship. Let's say you have that child, and it was not a significant relationship. The father of that child has spent 3 months harboring that soul in him. Then you spend 9 months carrying the child.
That's here.
After that, you spend 1 year in yoga with that other soul and that father of the child. As a result of this, there's a yoga that just occurred due to this. So can you say that's an Upapada or Dharapada? Because you have followed Krishna's dictum. He said you must spend 1 year with that person to consider that person your spouse. You had yoga, even not physically. Maybe the person, there was a one night stand, the person ran off to another country. Because of that child, you've had yoga with the person for 1 year. Is it not Upapada?
Yes.
See my argument? Oh, he left, but there's a child here. Okay, what happened? There's yoga between all three of you now. Think about that. I'll get to whether the Upapada is long-lasting, short-lasting, whether it becomes a marriage or not. Vivaha just means you're tied together, you're yoked. How that yoking is manifesting in society, then we'll get to that. Nietzsche,
Nietzsche,
Dharanasha.
Dharanasha.
Translation. If the planet in this second is debilitated, destruction of spouse occurs.
Upapada itself.
Could also be an Upapada itself, right?
Mm-hmm.
If the planet is debilitated on the Upapada, marriage does not occur. See that? If the Upapada itself is having Nietzsche planets, it follows the whole principle of Pravraja that Jaimini said first. That you're not marrying the person. Why? The ideals are not high enough to make it a marriage. Saying, oh, we'll live together. That's Nietzsche Grahas. In this context, the Lord of Upapada finally decides. Okay? Nietzsche and second from Upapada, spouse will have health problems. So make that differentiation.
Second,
So two interpretations so far, right? Jaimini is very detailed, and he's made a very small sutra, so there are bound to be more of them. Let's see. Na is, which katapayani? Na?
so,
0. Cha? Ka, ka, ga, gha, na. That's 5. Then cha. 6.
5.
6.
Yes, remind.
6. So 0 and 6. Reverse, you get 60. Remove multiples of 12.
12.
12. So, there's a hidden meaning here. 12th house will cause the destruction of the spouse or marriage. What does that mean? If the Upapada is in 12th house, can Upapada be in 12th house?
No.
No, alright.
But
So
if
then-
you count third, fourth, some of those
Maybe.
subsequent can
So
fall
what
into-
is this more likely to imply? If the Upapada Lord is in 12th house, marriage will not occur to that person. You must see this in Rashi and Navamsha. So Upapada Lord is, let's say, Venus. No, better example, Jupiter. And Jupiter is not in 12th house in your Rashi chart, but Jupiter is in 12th house in Navamsha. That marriage may not occur.
May not or will not?
May
From
not.
Lagna, Aruda Lagna,
Lagna.
and Navamsha Lagna.
Lagna and
Lagna.
Navamsha Lagna.
But I married in this case.
You did?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
So-
my Upapada Lord is Shani.
Upapada Lord is Shani, yes.
In Aries in 12th house in Dinam.
Oh.
How come?
How come, yes? Something must be taking it out of debilitation in the Navamsha.
Yes,
Otherwise
there's a
it can work.
Parivartana.
There is a Parivartana. See?
Can be.
Yes. Parivartana will definitely work. Definitely. Remember that case. Remember it. Must be somebody taking him out. Otherwise you cannot marry him.
But in the beginning, I didn't want to be married.
To marry him, right?
Huh?
Of course, it's Nietzsche.
Nietzsche.
Yeah. Nietzsche, we talked about that. He came out of Nietzsche.
After some effort.
Yes. Usually it will take a little bit of effort. What does that also imply? Nietzsche Bhanga can remove the problems with Nietzsche. Parivartana can remove the problems with 12th house. We're getting all the good sutras now. Now Maya is going to start calculating all these sutras to find the Hebrew meanings. Saying, my God, that's there, I never saw it. Jaimini is right. The tradition says so. Now you know why the tradition says so.
Oh, at the moment, I'm just relying on Ketu Guru, who are giving Nietzsche Banga for
And whose chart?
Mercury in mine, Navamsha.
Hey,
Mercury isn't 12th.
don't look at your
chart.
chart. Look at everybody else's chart first. Now, yes, Dennis.
I was going to ask something about the next sutra, but first you must read it out loud.
Yes, Ucce,
Uche.
Uche.
Bahudharana.
Bahudharana.
Okay, if the planet is exalted, you will have multiple spouses, many wives. How do we do that in this world? We don't. That doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. Okay, so this doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. An exalted Upapada does not cause more spouses. Exalted second lord of Upapada does not cause more spouses. You will know. You've seen examples. It's not the case. You don't have like a multiple amount of spouses in your life.
Well,
What
it
do we do?
depends, Guruji, where you're from.
Yes, agreed. Agreed. What does Uche mean here? Try to do the Katapayadi. U is
0.
0.
Sure.
Alright.
Cha.
Cha is
6.
6. So 60, right?
12.
So again it becomes 12. Alright. Alright. What if I say that ignore U and just say Cha? Then it
Right.
becomes 6, right?
Mhm.
6th house causes multiple spouses at the same time.
So means
Why did you remove 0?
means Ripu's causes multiple, right?
Jaimini, he's smart. He's very smart.
It is 6 sutra though. That has any relation.
Which one?
It's 6 sutra.
It's also the 6th sutra.
I have a
Yes.
question regarding this. Say that the person has had a second lord from Upapada.
Yeah.
It is
Exalted,
sixth.
not there, but the second lord is exalted.
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
it the same?
No, it's just going to cause a long marriage. Long-lasting marriage.
Here is mentioned like a man child. Wives.
What one?
Many wives.
How do you mean what?
It's mentioning like a only men charts.
No, it can be also many husbands. It can be.
Okay.
We know Draupadi had 5 husbands. So it's accepting both.
What is the meaning of the word Bahu?
Bahu means many. It can also mean arms. So you can have a spouse with big arms, is that it?
No, no, no.
It means
I just
many.
wanted to know which one is for many and which one is for wives, because Dara is apparently wife.
No, Dara doesn't have to be just wife. We have Dara Pada. Why should it be wife? Okay. Da. What was Da? What you must do in the world. Ra, the one who enlightens you about what you must do in the world. Dara. Dara Pada is that one. I derived it for you. Remember, the 3 Das. So there could be a hidden meaning in this sutra to 6th house. From this we derive, count every 6th from Upapada for consecutive spouses. Okay? Concurrent is more appropriate. Concurrent is the right word.
Yes.
Yes.
They run at the same time.
Yes. Last one.
Funny.
Yugmacha.
Yugma.
Yugma. So I did Katapayadi of Yugma. First, Yugma means Gemini. It means Gemini. Then I did Katapayadi. What did I get? Can you tell me what I got? Ya is? Ya is?
7.
Yeah, it's definitely not 7.
5. No, 1.
Break.
5.
Diego.
No.
Ya is 1. Ma was?
5.
5. So we reverse it. 51. Remove multiples of 12. Closest is 48. 48 from 51 is 3. So, this is referring to Gemini both by its number and by its name in this case. And he says, also the 3rd house, or also Gemini, causes Bahudharana. Multiple relationships, multiple spouses. Now we can interpret this in 2 ways. It can mean that every 3rd house from Upapada shows another spouse, concurrent spouse. Or it can mean that if this is in 2nd house from Upapada, you will have more than one relationship during the relationship. It could also mean that. The latter is more appropriate. Therefore, differentiating these 2 sutras. Okay? It differentiates these 2 sutras. This is for concurrent spouses. This is for affairs.
So, to sum up, we use only Gemini in 2nd house, not the 3rd bhava from the Upapada, right?
Yeah. 3rd bhava from Upapada will show how the spouse can die. Just as 3rd from Aruda Lagna shows that, which will get clarified later on. It's a good question. You should ask me that. It's a good question. How about if Upapada is in 3rd house from Lagna? Upapada in 3rd house from Lagna usually means that the relationship is based on kama, a desire of the spouse or the partner or you. What is the foundation for the relationship? 3rd house. Is that considered auspicious? Is the foundation for relationship is 3rd house? It means you're looking at your upapada as a means to fulfill a sexual desire. Okay? Now, admittedly, that may cause relationships to work, but it's not a good start, obviously. If you see upapada in 3rd house in a prashna, and the person's asking, should I or should I be in this relationship? It's because the person has difficulty seeing this as a long-term relationship. Okay. Does anybody here have them? Do you have it?
It's in the second, the current Upapa,
First
What
one.
do you mean current?
Yeah.
Tell me at least one.
the first
So
one.
try first one.
Yeah.
First one is where?
3rd house.
Oh, okay. Can you confirm that view?
No.
No? Either yourself or the other person may have had that view.
She may.
She may. Does anybody else have it?
I do.
Can you confirm that?
Definitely I can. Sometimes I was even giving it to Nick that it was the longest one night stand in the history.
All right.
6.5 years.
All right.
But I can confirm that I never wanted to marry for that person because I never viewed him as a serious partner. Definitely I did detect that it's just attraction and nothing else.
In the case of
much
Sandeep,
physical.
there's a slight difference to this. The Upapada is in third house, it's joined an exalted planet. Even if it's retrograde, he will not even see the retrogression. It's exalted. He believes it's exalted. So, what does that mean? Sandeep will enter into this and say that this will be a long, nice relationship. A very beautiful, nice, long relationship.
Yeah.
You know? That's how he will view it. And he'll say she's very attractive, he'll also say. Third house. That could be the
Sounds good.
motivation for starting the relationship to some extent. But that's okay. It's all right. I won't say this is bad. I will say that you have to be careful with what you are putting into the relationship as far as your personal views are concerned. Tatra
Tatra
Swami Yukte
Swami Yukte
Svarkshe
Svarkshe
Va
Va
Tadheta
Tadeta
Vutarayushi
Vutarayushi
Nirdhara.
Nirdhara.
Now we get that tatra again. He said it for the second time, which means definitely this time is second house. Definitely this time is second house. If the second is conjoined by its lord, or its lord is placed elsewhere, in own sign or in exaltation, loss of spouse, if at all, will only be at an advanced stage. In other words, if the second house from Upapada is strong, marriage will last. This word Swami means Lord of the sign. Okay? Keep that in mind, Swami. When we go to Swamsha, then it suddenly changes the meaning. Then Swamsha becomes Navamsha Lagna or Atmakaraka in Navamsha. Swami. We'll examine this a bit later.
Why it's saying loss of spouse?
Because earlier we were saying that if Nietzsche, it causes loss of spouse. Here he says loss of spouse will not happen.
Can I just...
If at all, will be only at an advanced stage.
I believe
It means
it's-
you're growing old with the spouse. You lose your spouse only when you're very old. To which we start have to look at longevity calculation and see the 5 years, between 10 years, between 15 years, between 2 years, between same day. All that comes after this.
Can I ask, is it literally losing a spouse, or is it maybe related to ending a marriage or
Yes,
divorce?
this is also related to
It doesn't
divorce.
have to indicate being
Dharanasha has two meanings. Spouse dies, or spouse has health problems. This is the same thing. That's the same thing.
Okay.
And divorce.
Okay.
Okay? Pravraja can also be implied by this, by divorce. Okay?
Okay.
If it's second from Upapada. So we're still stuck on Pravraja and Dharanasha from the first sutra. See how smart Jaimini is. He's still sticking us to the first sutra, and everything is derived from that first sutra. So you know the first sutra well, you know everything about Upapada. Ucce,
Uche
Tasmi,
Tasmi
Kutamakulad,
Kutamakulat
Dharalabha.
Varalava.
If the Lord of Upapada is exalted, spouse hails from the elite or upper class. This I'm sure you have heard before. The Lord of Upapada is exalted. But didn't we talk about second Lord of Upapada just before? Yeah?
Yeah.
Ah, see. So what is this tatra? He can still be referring to the first house from Upapada. So then how will we interpret this if this is first house from Upapada? If the Lord of Upapada is strong, marriage happens. That's what this means. Also. The Lord of Upapada is exalted. Spouse comes from the elite or upper class. In other words, is having a higher standing than you. Okay? Okay. Can Ucca mean 6th house like we derived earlier? Or 12th house? Any of the two? What do you think?
It should refer to the 12th house, shouldn't it?
It could, based on Katapayadi, it should. We had one exception of Uche where I showed maybe it's 6th house, right?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Do you think spouse will come from the elite or upper class if in 6th or 12th house? No. So this is specifically for exaltation. Right. Nietzsche.
Nietzsche.
Viparyaya.
Viparyaya.
Viparyaya means reverse or opposite. So we can translate this as, if the Lord of Upapada is debilitated, the spouse is from the lower class. Nietzsche, Katapayadi? We did that before? Nice. 0. Chais? 6. Right? Who said that? 6. Reverse them. 0, 6 becomes 16. Remove multiples of 12. What? How much? 12.
12.
Not 0.
0 or 12, right? We don't have 0 house, so we go to 12th house. Okay. So, if the Lord of Upapada is in 12th house who is debilitated, spouse may come from lower class. In fact, if the Lord of Upapada is in 12th house, we can say the spouse comes from a very poor family. You may not marry that person because you know already from earlier, Nietzsche, Dara, Nasha. Remember?
Yes.
He said that. So it means you may not marry that person if it's in the 12th house. That may be a relationship which passed and didn't happen. Unless there's a graha which is taking that planet out of 12th house.
Like Parivartana.
Parivartana, yes. Exactly.
What if that planet in 12th house is conjoined, like say, the Lord of the 12th house or an exalted planet? Do they then change character?
Exalted planets can change everything. Own sign can change everything. Planet in 12th house, if in own sign, then we go back. You said it's a very big blessing. Remember?
So disregard the Prabhupada placement.
Yes. That's also what Parashara says. If a planet is in Dushtana, but is in own sign or exaltation, to do good. Obviously, if you're a king, you need this yoga, right? Because nobody should be higher than you. Right? So, King Henry VIII, we saw the other day, almost all his spouses had some link to this 12th house, stability, something like that. Because they're all lower than him. The type of family, attitudes of spouse, etc. are to be seen from the Lord of Upapada. If the marriage is in doldrums or being delayed, advise fasting on the days ruled by the Lord of Upapada.
So if the Lord of
So the Lord of Upapada is bringing your spouse. And fasting on that day ensures the spouse comes. It's because you're eating that the spouse cannot come. If you fast, you give that spouse the opportunity to eat, is what is implied by this.
So could you say that if the Lord is, for instance, Shani or Rahu, then they are from a family of manual laborers or...
Shani, I could say that. Rahu, no. Rahu, they could still be in the political light. Spin doctor's lineage. Right? Okay.
So you would say you would look at the characteristics
On the planet, yes. For example, Saturn can cause carpenters. Some of the carpenters are very rich. Exaltation. Some of them have big businesses. Okay. Some of them do. Some have small businesses.
But how can we connect the bringing suppose and 7th of the Venus position?
Yes. 7 from Venus is bringing the body of the partner. Say you have found a partner and you want to make that partner your spouse. Then you need Upapada. So that means you're trying to transform that fellow who is 7th Lord from Venus into Upapada. So 7th Lord is bringing your partner, but Upapada is bringing your spouse. That's the difference. Not all partners become spouses. Is implied by this. Alright? Make sense? Sorry?
As you said, fortunately, because then it would be a big mess, wouldn't it? All those marriages and divorces.
Yeah. Shubha Sambandhat.
Sambandhat.
Sundari.
Sundari.
If benefics join Upapada, the spouse is beautiful or handsome. Oi, very nice. So the Upapada can indicate the appearance of the spouse. What?
I just said, she's the one laughing, I'm not saying.
Okay. Do you need a break?
No, that's fine.
Jupiter and Moon give a fair spouse, while Saturn gives a dark complexion spouse. How can we apply this? This is for Navamsha. The complexion of spouse or physical traits will be for Navamsha. The benefits associating with the Upapada are indicating the traits of the spouse, the inner nature, or rather, to be more appropriate, the nature you're seeing in the marriage.
Last bit again, please.
The nature of the spouse that you see as you're married
Navamshi.
is your Upapada.
Do we look at Rashi?
Physical appearance is Navamsha, 7th house in Navamsha.
Mm-hmm.
The way she treats you in the marriage is Upapada and Rashi. Or he.
Do we just look at the planets?
Like if he's always aggressive and fighting you all the time, then it's Mars on the Upapada. If you're bickering for the first 3 years of marriage, it's Ketu. Have babies quickly, please. If it's Jupiter, Moon or Venus, life is sweet. Poetry, as is sung. The guy will stand underneath your porch and sing to you. Venus. Okay. Jupiter, he will write nice letters and send you flowers.
Can we have an example?
I just did Jupiter on Upapada,
No, I
Venus
didn't.
on Upapada,
Living
Moon on
soul.
As in
Upapada,
a person.
Mercury on person.
Living soul. Is there any like that?
Mercury?
Mercury, what about Mercury? Here's Mercury on Upapada. Okay? That means his spouse knows how to speak nicely to him. Chooses her words very carefully. Tries not to cause any animosity by her words in the day-to-day activities. Okay? Understand? Is that right? Yes. And she's very eloquent. She likes to learn new languages.
Yeah.
She's very interested in learning about your family, your culture. She shows a sincere interest in your life all the time. You may be like, I have to do this, I have to do that, I wasn't thinking about this, about my partner and all that. But she is interested all the time. How are you? How is everybody? How's everybody doing? Am I right in saying so?
That's right.
Example? See that? It's the case.
Do we look at Rashi Drishti as well? Or do we just look at the specific planets?
What will Rashi Drishti show? Rashi Drishti will not show a part of her nature, but a part of what she wants in life. Like Rashi Drishti from Arudha Lagna is indicating what you are seeking. And what you are not, what you cannot see. Badak, for example. Upapada is showing what she is seeking. But the sign itself, the planets there, will decide her nature towards you. You can infer some other things. Because she has that nature, she will have some physical traits. Like Mercury and Upapada, she will take very good care of her skin.
Yep.
Because of which she must have beautiful skin. Unless second Upapada has a health problem denying her of that. Alright? That's how we infer this. Right. You had a previous Upapada in Libra. Moon is there. Not so talkative, but very emotional. And emotional in a good way. Like the good parts of your relationship, you would see that she will always know how to make you feel good. It could be a small touch. Usually they'll use this. Touch. Speaking is not the forte here. Certainly not. But if so, they can sing. Have a very melodious voice. They can say things which in day to day will not be significant, but to you, because of that voice, they will sound very nice. You will instantly, as you see her, when you look at her, you'll feel calm. All right.
Yeah.
Saturn is also there, exalted. It's exalted. So what will exalted planets do? It's not Shubha, it's Ashubha. Hardworking.
It's very hard work.
Very hardworking. Determined in life. Has a supreme skill of separating work and relationship. Right?
She came from a really rich family as well.
Yes. Also see that. Exalted planet, rich family.
Really rich.
Yes. Is example good for you?
Yes, thank you.
Makes sense?
Makes sense.
Have you seen your own chart?
Yes.
So,
Upapada is where?
in Capricorn with Ketu.
No, that's your second Upapada. Tell me about the first one.
Oh, sorry.
Think I'll let you go. How about him?
In 8th house.
Eighth house.
In Gemini.
Gemini. Any plans in Gemini?
No. Work.
Do the traits of Mercury appeal to you, what I just mentioned to Sandeep?
When she talks and
She talks very nicely, chooses her words carefully, takes a sincere interest in her physical appearance, would like to do yoga also, would like to do yoga. Okay? Or some exercise, for sure.
And
Mercury has to do with exercises, yes.
That's true.
Would have liked sports in her childhood. Okay?
Yeah. True.
Takes good care of her skin,
Yes.
yes. Why didn't the relationship last? Where's the Lord Mercury?
That house.
Confirmed. That's what Jaimini said.
Where is the Lord Mercury?
Mercury is in 12th house. Lord of his Upapada is in 12th house. Relationship did not turn into marriage. See?
In regards to my one, the current relationship I'm in, the Lord is in the 12th house, but it's in a Parivata with moon. And
Parivata changes
it
everything.
changes it. Yeah.
Everything it changes.
Yeah, but it's funny when you mentioned the yoga because she could bend in every possible way.
I don't need to know.
No, come on, not like that. But I mean, okay, whatever. If everyone's gonna think about like that, then I don't want to say anything.
This is Upapada topic.
Do we look at also E9 chart?
Yes, because Upapada shows the inner beauty and not the external appearance. The external appearance is seen from the Navamsha.
Always.
17th Navamsha is the actual appearance of the
But
first
you said
person.
yesterday, my Upapada Lord, she's gone to very better place in E9.
Yes, we have to discuss that later. I'll talk about that. Okay. Like some of these sutras are dealing with what is happening in marriage due to Navamsha also. For example, we just a few minutes ago talked about that if the Lord of Upapada is in 12th house in Rashi or in Navamsha, it can deny marriage. Remember? The same predicament is there with all the lords of Upapada. What are they? Where are they placed in Navamsha? That result will come to pass in the Upapada. Okay.
But in Navamsha, look at the inner characteristics of the person and how.
Outer is Navamsha. External. Upapada's inner. See what I say here? Upapada shows the inner beauty, not the external appearance. That external appearance is seen from Navamsha.
Okay, so I'm a little confused. Thank you, got it now.
Because remember I said, Mercury. Now she would like to do certain things. Those things are good for her skin. It doesn't mean her appearance is, oh, she has good skin. Remember, I said that. I was very particular in that. I mentioned a bunch of characteristics of her nature, personality, but not her appearance.
That's true because she did not have very good skin.
Yes, that depends on second house from the Upapada. Really it does. And the Navamsha. Mars is 7th house Navamsha, right?
But Guruji is right. In my case, she does like to look after her skin.
No, I know. I saw a picture. She's very nice. Okay, next.
That's
Come.
what you're talking about.
Rahu Shani Bhyam
Rahu Shani Vyam
Apavadat
Apavadat
Tyago
Tyago
Nashova.
Nashova.
If the second from Upapada has the conjunction of Rahu and Saturn, the native may either lose or desert his wife due to scandal. Desert spouse. Doesn't have to be wife. Spouse is the appropriate term. It does not specifically say so here, but this sutra does deal with second from Upapada. Because only when we speak of second from Upapada is there the concept, of that the relationship is ending. Okay. The relationship ends in second from Upapada. Even if the relationship does not turn into marriage because of the Upapada Lord, the second will show what is the reason that it did not continue. And will also show the troubles in the relationship. Of which I must tell you very clearly. It doesn't matter which hodgepodge of planets are in second from Upapada. The reason for breaking is the Lord. If that is if defeated, it will break. You could have tens of problems in the second from Upapada. Some Sun, Mars, Saturn, Rahu, Ketu, all doing some Duryoga over there. They can all join in and completely afflict the second house and cause all sorts of problems in the relationship. But the Lord of that sign will decide, will I break or will I stay? Lord decides. Remember that. Always the Lord. So even if there's a huge scandal with Rahu and Saturn in second from Upapada, the Lord of the second Upapada will decide whether it will last. The difficulty is, if the Lord of the sign thinks that that sign has been defeated by those planets therein, he will say, let go of this sign. Have you ever seen that?
What? Lord of the sign of the second from Upapada is where?
Let me give you an example. If Jupiter is in Cancer, he will defeat Sagittarius. Why?
It's sixth from.
He's sixth from himself.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Also, if a benefic lord's a sign and it's an eighth from that sign is pushed out, let go of, defeated. Sri Ram, he had Jupiter in Cancer. That was his Lagna. Sixth house is Sagittarius. Sixth house shows his enemies. So, because Jupiter is in Cancer, it defeats Sagittarius, and the enemy is Sagittarius, which was Ravana. Why did I take exaltation of Jupiter into account? To be sure that you understood, even if the Lord of a sign is exalted, it may defeat its own sign. It supports Pisces, not Sagittarius. In case of Jupiter exaltation. Okay? Good. How would this manifest? Now Maya will get the answer to her question. In such same combinations, let's say Upapada is in Scorpio, second house is Sagittarius, Lord of Sagittarius is in Cancer, Jupiter, Sagittarius is defeated, Upapada in Scorpio is also defeated. Okay? Because the second house therefrom is defeated. I give you tough examples.
But
And
Lord
there are
is
others we can
exalted.
list. Hmm?
But Lord is exalted, so
Yes,
he will support the marriage or not?
No.
No, he will die.
he will destroy the marriage. He'll end it. He may give a long marital contract though.
So it's not the Lord, it's the Rashi that has to be supported.
Well, in this case, what is actually happening is the Lord is saying, I will not lord this Rashi anymore. Then the Lord and the Rashi have said, okay, goodbye to each other. That's convincing enough, isn't it? This is a tough example. I'll give you the toughest. If Upapada had been in Aquarius and Jupiter was exalted in Cancer, no problem. Long-lasting marriage.
But it's not lording the Aquarius. Oh wait, Pisces. Yeah. I thought you were saying Aquarius second.
You still need a break. Okay.
Okay.
It's getting very hot for me also. That's why
Yes.
we need a break.
Too much. For me, it's.
Okay, we're taking a break, is that it?
I thought you said that we were taking.
You want a break?
Sorry.
Tell me.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
break.
yeah. I thought you said it.